It is 9/29/2015. We are on UC Denver's Auraria campus here talking about weight discrimination. We are here with a good man. What are your thoughts? First of all, let me lead off with, does weight discrimination affect the workplace? Are skinny people more likely to be promoted?
Yes. You can look at Chris Christie and how people ridiculed him out of the presidential race based just on his weight.
Hey, that's an interesting point. I never actually thought of that.
Yeah, and then if you look at just in general, I mean, even if the guys are just joking around at work, I think they're much higher an attractive female than one that is overweight any day of the week. I don't think weight is looked at as a discrimination. I think it's just ingrained in our culture. You look at advertising and marketing. Fat people usually aren't there unless they're deliberately supposed to be there. They're deliberately placed. Look at most hit TV shows nowadays, and fat people are deliberately placed.
They're used as more of comedic tools instead of like...
And also just to diversify. They wouldn't be in there unless they're supposed to be in there. It's a very specific role. I don't watch Supernatural, but the few episodes I've watched, you always got to look real hard to find one fat guy. And he's usually just a side person in the background. They're just deliberately placed. I think it is. It's the marketing. We're taught to be sexy, to be attractive, to be in good shape, to be healthy.
But is being skinny being healthy? I mean, can a fat person be just as healthy and happy?
I think it's definitely to each person's own opinion, but I think in this country, culturally, fat shaming is a thing. I don't know if it's probably a bad thing for the fat people. I bet if you did a study that fat or obese people tend to be more depressed, it's something I'd put my money on.
Do you think that's because of the society? It makes them feel that way?
Cultural norms, for sure.
I mean, even though they have a house, they have a car, they have a job, but like society just makes them feel bad, even though they're living better than 90% of the world.
Yeah, fat shaming is a thing. I think you're on. I don't think you're onto something. I think it's been around.
Yeah, it's been around. Yeah, for sure.
It's just how it is. I mean, do you want to go paintballing with your fat friend?
Why not?
Paintball even, but I mean,
it's like, why not? I mean, he's a friend.
He's a friend. I understand, but at the same time, you're being competitive. He's got a little more shit to shoot. You know what I mean? That's just not to add to discrimination. I used to be big myself, but it's just kind of a way, and it is unhealthy. It is proven to be unhealthy, depending on the size. I don't know what kind of BMI and or body fat percentage you're talking about to declare what is fat and what is not. But if it's just solely based on appearance, I think attractive people tend to be more successful and have an easier path in life than fat people.
Okay. And do you think that skinny people like to shame fat people in order to make themselves feel better and keep on being skinny?
Yes, and individualism-based society that we are, you're in it for your own. Anything that makes you feel good, you're going to do. And if someone being worse off than you makes you feel better and that you've achieved more, then why not? Why take it away from someone other than the fact that it's kind of dickish? I get it. It makes sense. None of this stuff is confusing to me. Whether or not we're going to change it culturally, I doubt it. Until we change the marketing schemes and whatnot, it's embedded in culture.
All right, dietary choices. We've gone from reducing fats and increasing sugars, but now we're reducing sugars with artificial sugars. So, what do you think about that? And like, you know how intaking so much sugar lowers your blood pressure and it makes you hungry again. What do you think about America's dietary situation?
There was the big old trans fat trend back in the day. People got away from butter, but I've also read studies that said before 1960s coronary disease wasn't the biggest factor. We switched from regular butter or saturated fats to trans fats, with margarine, which is now unhealthy, but for years we were led to believe that margarine was the healthy substitute to butter, which is actually the opposite. I think there's always going to be a battle. I think sugar is addicting, and that's why it sells so well. Soda is addicting, that's why people drink it. It's just kind of how it is. I don't know.
All right. Thank you for your time, sir.
Buddy.
I'll be around. It's anonymous, so...
One or two clips in there, hopefully. So.
Yeah, thank you. All right. We are here with two young men. This is an anonymous interview, so you don't have to state your name or any personal information. You can sound off. I'll just hold this here. So then we got the full Bermuda Triangle going on. It's disaster.
Word.
So, picking up where we left off, all lives matter. I definitely felt that was a white thing to do, to try to discredit the Black Lives Matter movement, because here we were focusing on one specific race, but then all of a sudden it expanded to a wider spectrum of just all humans. And we know that white people make up the majority in America. So when you say all lives matter, you know, you're including that massive majority in there as well. So
Right. I mean, you know, you're discrediting, you know, Black lives. You know, for so long in America, we see that Black lives have not mattered. They have never mattered in a sense, unless it comes to making money for the rich. You got the sports entertainment, big component of putting money in other people's pockets. That's the only time Black lives matter. But Black lives, in my opinion, haven't mattered. And then trying to discredit it with all lives matter, you're taking awareness away from the fact that African Americans, you know, not saying that other nationalities and other ethnic backgrounds aren't disrespected, but African Americans have an issue with being profiled just walking down the street, where you can't do things that other people are doing. Kanye West said, you know, Brandon, he's gonna get a look at the application before Tyrone does. Just based off names, there's been research done by that. So you know, you gotta think about it. Black lives matter, and we have to bring attention to that. We can't continue to just be killed by police, and we can't continue to kill each other. And you know, my other side of that with Black people, what pisses me off is that with other Black individuals, we're not thinking about how you're killing your communities, peddling drugs. You know, having these gangs in these areas, in these neighborhoods, and shoot each other. I think it's just, it has to come all the way around. That's come all the way around. So people can't like, oh well, Black Lives Matters, but you're still killing each other. It's still black on black crime.
I mean, the communities have been segregated because of unequal loan. Like when you want to buy a house, you got to apply to the bank for a loan. And then that bank's like, oh, well, we can only put you in this part of town because you're unqualified, you know? And they have these they literally have maps where they put a red line around it and they say, this is where the blacks live.
The concept you're speaking of is redlining. They did it in Chicago when during the Great Depression. I mean, so I'm not depression, Great Migration from the South, because you know African Americans, they didn't want to be beaten and killed and hung anymore. So during that Great Migration, states were getting these floods of African Americans. California got Black people in here just because they're passing through, decided to settle. But New York, Chicago, it was redlining. It's a process that they've done for years, hundreds of years. They started with the Jews. You know, they put the Jews in what we call ghettos, or what they called ghettos. And in these ghettos, they were impoverished. They were food deserts. And when they'd have these disasters or like a flood, this city where they put all the Jews would get flooded and washed out, and they'd have to start all over, and everything's just fucked up.
All right. Katrina, those communities.
Yeah.
Recently in the news, I've been seeing a lot of coverage of people who have suffered in New Orleans after the hurricane, but they're white people. It's like, any thoughts on that?
It's only white people. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, back when Katrina was happening, you had the image, you know, white people looking for food, Black people looting when they're carrying food. It's just, they're doing the same exact thing, but because you place a skin color on them, now they're doing the opposite thing, and they're robbing, stealing. These people are trying to survive. They're trying to live, and that's when it comes. Black lives matter. Black lives always matter. I've always said that, but leave it up to America, man. You're not really gonna be able to, you know, voice that without oppression or being called a bigot, being called prejudice, being called racist. You can't voice that opinion.
I find it funny when a white man calls a black man a racist. I mean, it's just like, hey, maybe we finally we're at a new era. Like, that's just kind of funny if you think about it. Like, being called racist by a white man, it's just like, huh. Like, I wonder if this would have happened 100 years ago. Like,
a black man can't be racist. Black people cannot be racist because, under definition, racism is the power. The powers that be. So the reigning cultural group. So at white, if you're the power, you are racism because you are oppressing the individuals. Now, black people are prejudiced. Black people are prejudiced against their own kind, but there's no way, shape, or form that people that are not white are or can be racist because it's only that power is only held for the whites.
Okay, but
I disagree with that.
All right.
I think like anyone could be racist, any race.
Okay, fair enough.
And that depends on, because my definition of racism is when you segregate or discriminate based on a person's skin color and race. You can even have a black person being racist against another black person.
Yeah,
like you go like in Africa or something like that, you have tribes.
The Rwandan genocide,
you
the
have
Tutsis.
stuff like that. So you could have racism between similar colors. So I'm not necessarily going to say that racism is a white or black person term. It's a term, it's something that people come up with.
Okay, so
But now you're talking about prejudice and discrimination, not racism. You look at the definition of racism.
hang on, are you talking about America in particular? Because he's talking about Africa, yeah, and like in general. But
I'm talking about racism in general.
Okay, so I feel you. So let's say a black American, he grows up in a racist society. Can he then turn out to be racist because he's a product of his environment? Is that possible?
If you have hate without any warrant, then yeah.
Yeah. Because I feel like I grew up in a place called Highlands Ranch. It was a all-white suburb. And like I was just surrounded by these white supremacists like every day of my life for 7 years. And I feel like that made me racist. Like, you know, because it was my environment that fucked me up and twisted my mind. So.
But everybody has choices. Everybody does have choices. Yes, that can be a product of your environment. That's what you grew up in. I grew up in a neighborhood that, you know, is filled with gangs and drug usage. Okay. But I rose out of that because, like, just like everybody else, I had a choice. I had the choice to try those things, which I did try those things. But I learned that's not for me. Under my certain circumstances and my beliefs, it wasn't something for me. So, yeah, you can become a product of your environment, but you just, as you can become a product, you have the opportunity and power of choice. And choice is, people don't take into account that choice is possible.
Okay. And so Patrice O'Neal once said that in the race war, there are only two sides, black and white. And he also says that some races, like, he says the Asians chose to be white. And then, you know, stuff like that. So, what was I trying to say? Sorry. Do you think that some of the other races, Latinos, Asians, have betrayed the black side, the color side?
In America, it's like this. So, for Africans, you have like different races that they have similar phenotype to Americans, to the whites, but something like an African American, their phenotype is physically different from a white person. So that's why they got like the worst end of the stick, because their phenotype were physically different. So like when German Americans came over here, they were categorized as Americans because physically they were white, but even though they weren't American, so they got the same privilege as Americans. But for Africans, when they came over here, they were categorized differently because of their skin color. And the privilege was that they became slaves and they got treated worse than other immigrants.
Yeah. And even skin color. Like before World War II, some Japanese people tried to apply to be white because they had white skin. And then some Italians, some Irish people, you know, they had white skin, but they weren't considered white, quotation marks around white, because of where they came from.
I think that's the... What's my turn?
I think it's so much easier. Sorry to cut you off, but being an Asian American, however they put it, white American, Asian American, you're more so, from my understanding and what I know, Asian cultures are coveted with family, by family. You know, so it's about family and it's about earning, and these families are pushing their children to be more. And I think because they do that, because they take school more seriously, because they take education in the workplace a lot more seriously, then they are considered, under American terms, acceptable in the white community. It's because they take those things that most white people take serious.
Okay, I feel you.
And I think that's why they're widely accepted. But you go back to why African Americans haven't been accepted in that is because many reasons. One of the reasons I can speak on, because I'm knowledgeable of it, is because we have been placed in these ghettos. Because we have been placed in these ghettos, we have a lot more difficulties than people that are placed in the suburbs, highlands. Not to say that they're not, people from the suburbs don't have issues either, because there's a lot, everybody has issues, but because you're placed in these ghettos, you have to fight for your life, you have to fight for survival, you have these food deserts, you have these other things that are for human consumption aren't accessible for good health, good body. It affects and alters your mind. So now it's a dog eat dog world, and that's what it's like in these ghettos. And that's how those ghettos were created. They're created strategically to place these individuals at odds, to stack them on top of each other and have catastrophe. And because they've done that for years, for hundreds of years, that's what it's become. That's all it has become, because we're always fighting against each other. Then it becomes deeply rooted in our psychology, in love, and family lines, and we have what we have today, which are these ghetto, ignorant black people. Which, you know, that's true. Some of them are. You got some of them that can be ignorant, but know the difference and know how to act in front of people. You just have the ones that they want to call quote unquote whitewash because they grew up and chose something else.
Graham cracker, Oreos. Sorry.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I think basically, like, although like racism right now is intolerable, the foundation that this country was built on still exists. So even though you can't go around calling people with racial slurs, you get like different values from that. The system still places black people in the bad spot.
Okay. So I figured out what I was gonna say, and I'll say this part, and then I'll get to what I was gonna say. So during the Mexican-American War, Mexico had these treaties, these contracts worked out with America to allow Mexican-Americans certain rights, the same as white people. But of course, America was like, no, you're Mexican, you're Latino. So knowing my American history and knowing what I know, do you think that the Latinos and the Asians should be sticking up for the blacks? Because if you think about it, who was it that fought for my right to go sit on RTD, the bus? It was Rosa Parks. And like, who was it that fought for my civil rights in general? It was Martin Luther King Jr. And do you think like Asians and Mexicans and other races, they don't remember this, and that's why they're not giving blacks the support they need?
One, it's not being taught in our schools. You know, they only call it the black struggle. But if they remember the Freedom Riders, there are a lot of white people on that bus.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yes.
There are white people on that bus, but schools aren't being taught that. You know, we talked about genders earlier. Genders being punked. Yes, I totally agree that Latino, Asian, and African Americans should come together, but because we have this hierarchy system again, we're not going to. And then Latinos and African Americans, we go through the exact same thing in our communities. We're just so damn selfish, and we're you know, fighting against each other because we've been again placing those ghettos.
I agree.
Black people in these ghettos. We've been placing these ghettos, so we can't really see who the real enemy is. Not necessarily say we're fighting a blind enemy. You know, we're fighting a blind system. But if we ever come together and rise above what we already know that, you know, I can't just say the white man has done, but this America has done. If we're able to rise together and come above, be better than that, we'd be like the Jewish individuals. Because you look at Jewish communities, everything, all the money they make is pumped back into the community. They're not spending outside of the community. If they do, it's very little.
All right.
Okay.
MJ. I'm not gonna name names because I don't want to get sued. But MJ, let's say this guy named MJ, he's got a shoe line, but instead of making it in America, he decides to make these shoes in China. And do you think that's a messed up thing when he could be providing industrial labor to his own communities back home?
How it works? I'm sorry, because I'm big on shoe collecting, or I was.
Yeah,
I'll let you go in a minute. Sorry, but he's just a name at this point. People are placing blame. Michael Jordan this, Michael Jordan that. Right now, he's just a name. There's corporations. Nike is a corporation.
Okay, fair enough.
Who is that corporation ran by? White people. It's about you know, profit.
Okay, so just to clarify, he licensed his name, you're saying, and he isn't the one directly behind it. He licensed his name. That's
he controls
different.
it.
Okay.
Now they don't control he doesn't control the consumer. The consumer controls themselves. And what's being pumped out?
Okay, fair enough.
So I think that the main problem is not racism; it's class inequality. But the people that have the power and the money makes it seem like the main problem is racism. Even though it's inequality in class, because when you think about it, a poor person doesn't have the same opportunity as someone that's rich. Like someone that grew up without any houses, no clean water, they're not gonna have the chance to be the same kind of person as someone that grew up in a good community, good family, stuff like that. So basically, the media makes it seem that the problem is racism, but in reality, the problem is class inequality, and that's what I think.
Okay, and the last time, I don't know, I was watching Chappelle's Block Party, and I know that it's a couple years old, like 2003 or something, but one of the things I noticed was when they went to Jay-Z and Biggie Smalls and Busta Rhymes, their old high school, their old school, it was like, it was broken down. It was like
Piece of shit.
Yeah, none of the money went back into their community. I was just, it's 2003, maybe it's changed, but at the time I was watching Chappelle's Block Party, I was like, Biggie Smalls, huge name in rap. Busta Rhymes, huge name in rap. Jay-Z, huge name in rap. But it's 2003, and why is your school still the same as you left it 10, 20 years ago?
It's fucked up. But for every person that doesn't put money back into school, other people are. I can't tell people what they do with their money. I really don't care what people do with their money, honestly, because it's theirs. They can't tell me what to do with my money. Yeah, although that should be placed and pumped back into schools, or the schools that raise them. You name these people, the people that were in those schools for them didn't do shit for them. That's supposed to, like the teachers.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Telling Biggie, you ain't gonna be shit. Told Jay-Z said you're gonna be dead or in jail. They're the product of the community.
Okay.
They can't really say, yeah, that school influenced me that much, because they dropped out to sell drugs in the impoverished community. Okay. You know?
Okay. Understand.
I wish I could tell people what to do with their money and they listen, but you can't. They made that money on their own merit. Now Jay-Z, I know he has pumped a lot of money back into his neighborhood and some marching projects and all over the place.
Okay, fair
I know
enough.
he's put money back there. I know Mike, for a fact, has put some of his money back into these black communities.
That's good.
But, you know, we place blame. African American, we point fingers, like to point fingers and blame it on somebody else. And that's the problem with our community. We don't want it to be accountable. Not everybody wants to be accountable for the shit that they do. We got to be more accountable. We got to be responsible for the things that we do. In order for us to be responsible, and when we start becoming responsible, then that's when there'll be change. That's when we'll become more like these Jewish communities or these white communities, because we're acknowledging our faults and we want to get better, not making the same mistake over and over again.
Okay. All right, let's
I
move.
think with the thing about the blame, it's actually, sometimes it makes sense to place the blame. Like when you think about it, if a whole class takes an exam and everyone fails, you could say that it's not an individual's fault for failing the exam. In that sense, like the exam was too hard. So there's like a social problem on there. So like when the whole community is struggling, you could say it's not the individual's fault, but it's the system itself. So sometimes I think it makes sense to place blame, but at the same time, the individual has to take account for their own actions.
Exactly. Accountability. That's something you got to you got to be accountable for your own actions. And it's sometimes it's tough to do that, but that's what, you know, how you become a man, a woman, a responsible man or woman at least.
That's how you get out of the ghettos. Okay. All right, moving on. Barack Obama, when he was running for president, this is just my generalizations, so just bear with me for a second. But Obama, when he was running for president, he was black. But then when he was about to win, he became biracial. And then now that his term is ending, white people are like, he's the first biracial president. And then another example, Tiger Woods, you know, best black golfer alive. And that, yeah, I know. But then after this whole shit happens and he runs into a tree with the Escalade, oh, now he's half Asian. Like that Asian side of him crashed that car.
Got the other side. Now he's nigga because he cheated on his woman with so many other women. Thing is, you know, it's the word black is only convenient when people want to make it convenient. You know, everybody want. Somebody said this. I don't know who said it, but everybody want to be a nigga until it's time to be a nigga. That everybody wants to, you know, be in a black culture and want to do all this, but when it's time, like to stand up and be actors, like, oh, that's not my place. Sorry, I love your culture, but I'm not gonna represent it like I should or like I have been. They do it when it's convenient for themselves. The black, biracial, they took the power. They're taking the power out of black. That's what they're trying to do. That's what I'm saying. He's biracial. They don't want to acknowledge that black is beautiful. Black, first species that was on this planet Earth.
You look at his wife. You look at his children, and you can't call his wife or his children biracial. I mean, I've seen the family pictures, and it's a beautiful black family living in the white man's house. Like,
black is like the dominant. It's the most dominant bloodline. You mix black and Asian, black and white. What stands out the most?
So it's black.
That's what I'm saying. Black.
I think the problem is that, like, the sad part about this is that race is actually a social construct.
Yeah, for sure.
It doesn't have any biological basis. For example, like, our culture and the environment we grew up in influences our race the most. Like, if you go in Brazil, for example, in America, your race is determined, like, from birth, and it doesn't change.
Brazil's weird. I've heard things about Brazil. Can you go into that?
If you go in Brazil, you can move across, like, across the line, and your race automatically changes. And I think that's how it should be. Your race shouldn't determine who you are, because it doesn't actually have any kind of relevance on your potential as a human being. So I think that's the sad part, that in America, your race basically has a huge effect on who you are and who you can become. But in reality, it shouldn't be.
I agree with you. It's a construct. It's a social construct that America started, and it won't end because we just want to sweep everything that America is built on. What was it built on? Murder, blood, death. Suppression. Started with the Native Americans.
Yeah.
Started with the poor white folks. Started with the Africans. And that's what America was built on. But we sweep it under the rug. We don't talk about it in our books. Our world history. The reason they take it out of there because they don't want to awaken these little white kids that live in this little white population and have them think like, yo, what my people did were fucked up. Excuse me, I don't know if I can cuss on this.
It's okay, it's anonymous.
But they don't want to acknowledge that, and they don't want to awaken these younger kids. But these kids are being awakened to us, and that's why I love. I have a love and hate relationship with the internet and our phones because information is so readily available now. It's just what information are you peddling to these kids? Is it ratchet shit, or is it positive things, or is it just very neutral? What is it? Because these kids have to learn. They have to get the information from somewhere. Just give them the right information. And that's all that I ask. I can't believe that racism is still being spoken on 400 years after slavery. It shouldn't be. It should be, but it still is a big factor. And it's because we have this ability to spread information fast. I like that it's being brought up, but we keep talking about the problem. Let's do something about the problem.
Okay.
Or can we do something about the problem?
I doubt it. Now with this current political system.
No,
exactly. Yeah, it's corrupt.
Yeah,
it's corrupt. I agree. So that's a posed question. Can we? Yeah, individuals can do smaller things. I hope I'm not taking over, but I feel strongly about these things. Individuals can do small things, But you see how the Black Panthers, was created in L.A. I believe that's where it started. And I'm a brilliant idiot, so I don't really know if that's true or not. But I know in L.A. they're very prevalent. What they do, Reagan and the contraband, they sent the cocaine, they flooded cocaine, and disbanded the
COINTELPRO, yeah.
They disbanded Black Panthers, and it's like, fuck. When Black people get something going well, got something going good, now we're labeled threats because we're arming ourselves.
You're a thug. You're a thug.
We're a thug because now we just want protection from the brutality that our great grandfathers or that those times our grandfathers had to be a part of during that Great Migration. We just want to arm ourselves and not be shot at or be killed for being black. Will that ever happen?
Like when you think about it, like that war on drugs was actually like a war on black and Hispanic people.
Oh yeah,
preach.
Yeah, 70+% are, and the white people and the other races that are thrown in there, those are like...
Yeah, like they focused on the drugs that like Hispanic and black people did, but not like on the drugs that white and other races did. Because like for marijuana, you can't say that marijuana is better or worse than cigarettes. But you make marijuana legal and you make cigarettes legal. And you basically have a system that puts people that smoke marijuana in prison.
You guys want some chips?
I'm good.
I see this guy wants some. I'm trying to get rid of them. You want some?
I'll take one.
So I have a cheese.
I'll take the Cheetos. Thanks, my man. Have a great day.
Do you want some?
I'm good, thank you.
All right, have a nice day, guys.
You too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Marijuana. Colorado. The fucked up thing about it is the black people, the brown people who are still in jail, they're still in jail. Like, there's nothing done to help them. Like, get out of jail, even though now it's legal, So, who was marijuana legalization really for?
It's only convenient when you can put a white face on it. And then you got all these hedge funds and these hedge funders, that manage money, financial managers. Now they're buying into it and kind of like locking the African Americans off from this marijuana is booming industry.
Hey, you have a felony. You have a record. We won't allow you to open up your marijuana retail because that's procedure.
It's not just marijuana. Like our whole criminal justice system is like messed up. Because basically, what is it? When you think about it, like a crime of $1 billion versus robbing a bank, which one do you think is worse?
$1 billion.
Yeah, but white collar crime, you don't get punished for that. But if you rob a bank, you probably get like how many years? 5 years in?
That's fair time.
Yeah.
That's fair time. Minimum 10 years, I think.
And
Security Exchange Commission. Oh, you stole $1 trillion? Well, you can go now.
Yeah. Here's a pat on them because they got ability to pay these lawyers. They can pay lawyers. They're putting money in the judge's pocket, and that's the fucked up thing. It's a corrupt system. It's a very corrupt system, and it's for the people with money. You know, you got to have a lot of money in order to be a player in this game. Be a player in this game, you got to do some fucked up things. And that's why it's very difficult in America as a person of another ethnic background to make it so far. Yeah, we all have the ability. We all have the ability to be something great. But, you know, we reach a ceiling. There's a ceiling unless you sell out. Then your community's calling you a sellout like they're calling MJ. Now they call him a sellout because he's not doing this or he's not doing that or he's not doing what's expected of him. Yo, he's reached the ceiling. Now all they can do is use his name. He's another form of a slave. A scene in Space Jam. Oh shit! I don't know if y'all ever seen Space Jam, but
Continue.
Check it out. So these aliens came and they had this plan for Michael Jordan where he played basketball on their planet and get all this merchandise, but he's shackled the whole time. So this whole time he's gonna play basketball, make money for them, keep making money for them. This is fucked up. Yo, Looney Tunes. So he's making money for them, making money for him, but he's still shackled. Michael Jordan's shackled, and that's why they want to take them. They want to take him from the planet. Yo, it's fuck same thing. The white people are aliens. Oh shit. Yo, I gotta see that movie again. That's crazy. I remember that scene. I got to see that scene.
I wrote a story where European Americans, white people, they go to Mars and they're immediately arrested as illegal aliens and they're put into Guantanamo Bay and imprisoned to do labor. So, yeah, it's perception is everything.
Oh, shit, I got to see that scene again. That's crazy.
It's interesting. What did Michael Jordan, like, was he a director or something in that movie?
He just started. I don't know. It may have been executive
producer
or something.
Okay.
I know he starred in it, but that's crazy. That thought just came to my mind because of that.
I'm here to bring new ideas.
Yeah, man. I love that you're here. How often y'all here?
And yeah, I'm here to fuck with the system because it's like I think that some Asians, some Mexicans, some Latinos, and whatever else, like they've tricked themselves into thinking that they're white people, and I'm just like, you're not white. You're like you're with us, man. You're. All right. So next point. Paul Mooney, he says that 9/11 took a lot of pressure off black people and placed it on Muslims. Would you agree with that?
I agree to disagree.
Okay.
You know, black people, since we're so, deep integrated into American culture, we're kind of the norm, per se. Muslim culture isn't a norm. It's still foreign, concept. 100, 200 years from now, it won't be a big subject. It'll be aliens or some shit, eventually. But I agree with this. They took some pressure off, but we're still niggas at the end of the day.
Did you find yourself hating on Muslims to ally yourself with the whites, take some pressure off you?
Hell no.
Because I did. See, that's the fucked up shit. I was a kid then, and I was living in this all-white neighborhood. So in order for me not to get picked on, I had to pick on someone else, and that's fucked up. Like, I realize that now, and I'm just like, that's fucked up, I
just thought that shit was an inside job from the get-go.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I think there's a lot more information going on. When the Twin Towers were struck, they said that's when this bank that's in New York had all this gold that a lot of the countries gave to America that they kept in there and they moved it underground. They said it's just a smoke screen. There's many different. Yeah,
I've heard of the World Trade Gold. But even if you do find out the truth, it's just like, how do you change reality? Like, we know that it was an inside job, but how do we change reality? Like, we've already bombed. All right.
I think, like, in some sense, like, the Muslim can be said to be like the black people. Because when you think about it, the information the media choose to show is like all the bad stuff of Muslim, the crime, the terrorists, all those stuff.
Yeah.
But you can't say 100% that's the only thing Muslim people do. So that's the same thing they do for black people.
Yeah.
They only choose to show the bad, like the black on black crime, all that stuff. They won't show the good. And so in that sense, like the Muslim, you could say like they're like the black people, because there's a lot of misinformation of the two groups.
Yeah, I mean we got BET and we got Al Jazeera. Like, what else do we have to get our voice out there? You know, CNN, Fox, MSNBC, ABC. Like, white people own these outlets. Like, they own 90% of the media outlets. Like, where are the colored voices going to be heard, you know? Like, and
we have to run. I got to work. I'm sorry. Great chat, man. I appreciate it.
It's good.
Hey, where can I find this at?
Let me put it on pause for a moment.